When the outdated tactics get left behind, it's time we stop. Marketers look around when your ranking's going down.
But we have a special guest today, Bill Hartzer. Bill Hartzer has been around this industry since 1996. He's a blogger, speaker, podcaster, author at Search Engine Journal and a bunch of other places, course instructor. He's an expert at top-level domains and new GTLDs. He's an expert witness, offers consulting, auditing, and more at billhartzer.com. Bill, thank you for joining me today.
Right. It's great to be here.
Let's jump into one of my favorite topics. Let's talk about links. So let's talk about maybe everything from how do you get links these days that aren't going to get you penalized to how do you do a link audit and know what's a good or a bad link. So those are almost two completely separate topics. Maybe we should jump into let's talk into the link audit first. So how do you know what's a good or a bad link if you're doing a link audit?
That's a good question. There's different metrics, certainly, that so there's link tools and different link tools that we can use. So you put in your domain name and it will show you all the links. And there's different tools, Majestic.
Do they really show all the links, Bill?
That's a good question. So
sometimes I've gone to like Moz, Majestic, Ahrefs, SEMrush, and kind of pull down the backlinks and notice that, wow, they're a lot different between them.
They are. So ideally, proper link audit would be to use as many tools as you have access to pull that data. And that also means if you have access to the site and would be Google Search Console data as well.
And how do you determine if you're looking over, thousands of backlinks, which one might be bad and which one might be good?
So where I kind of tend to start, I look at those links. I tend to look at the anchor text of those links. And so, one of the areas that I consistently see is that you look at the links and whatever tool it is, you'll look at the links and there's an anchor text way to see basically how are people referring to you. In one particular case,
it could be like Bob's Law Firm is often the anchor text, yes. Or it could be personal injury lawyers.
Yes, exactly. Or truck lawyer, let's use truck lawyer.
And which is the real one, or I shouldn't say which is the real one, which is the obvious not real one.
Well, there's natural. I look at it as what's natural text, which is the company name or the firm name, yep. Or an image link or a logo, or it could be just a URL, or it could say something like click here or go to this site or go here.
Those are definitely the naturals. Yeah, it's often, it's funny. Like if I'm analyzing, let's say a lawyer's website and I see they have a whole bunch of backlinks, with personal injury lawyers. It's like, that's kind of my first clue that like, oh, they've done a lot of SEO and maybe not the best kind of SEO. And then when I look at where are they getting those exact match anchor texts from, it's always like some blogs, and in the blog somewhere in the middle of the story, somehow there's personal injury lawyers, as a link to the client. And I'm always or
the traditional directories. There are still plenty of directory links out there, directory links that they'll use that exact match anchor text. So in most of the cases, if that exact match anchor text is, in the top 10 of the types of links in that anchor text, if truck accident lawyer is the second or third or fourth or fifth used anchor text to the site in a link, 99% of the time, they are not ranking for that keyword. They're not going to rank for, because I would call that over optimization. We've got to do something in that link profile to either change that anchor text of the links, get the links moved, or in some cases, get a massive amount of links. There are more branded keywords.
In a perfect world, you would take the links however they came naturally. Like you wouldn't.
Yes.
I guess in a perfect world, you'd be like, "Here, let's create some great content, and however people link to us is however they link to us, and natural."
And that goes back to the domain name, because if you have keywords in your domain name, then it could be natural that they use those keywords in your domain name, in your company name, and so forth. And that's one way to kind of get it naturally.
There's probably a good value in having personalinjurylawyers.com. I'm sure whoever owns it has an advantage. But yeah, that's better than Boykin, Hartzer, and Tabke Law Firm Incorporated or something.
Sure. There are some sites that are basically do not have a lot of links. Talking about if it's small business might have less than 100 links. So naturally, you can go out and create natural profiles. They might not have a LinkedIn company page or Facebook page or for their company, or a Twitter account and so forth. Crunchbase.com, there's golden.com. There's ways to get that kind of more natural links with the company name.
Is there a good resource on where to find those? I remember there used to be Noam. I don't know if that's still around anymore.
Yes, it is still around. Yes, Noam, KNOWEM.com. What I kind of like also is to focus on links that are part of the knowledge graph. And that's a whole other, probably another, 4 or 5 hour discussion about the knowledge graph. Jason Barnard has a good list of sites that are part of the knowledge graph. Things like, Wikipedia and Crunchbase and Wikidata and golden.com. And some of these are more traditional that cover a lot of different topics, but there's some that for each industry, there are certain sites that you need to get mentioned on and so forth. For SEO, things like Search Engine Land, Search Engine Journal, and so forth. Each industry has its sites that are the main ones. It could be an association for your industry. That they have a directory. I know that, for home inspectors, the National Association of Home Inspectors or something like that, where those types of links, where you primarily would get a link with your company name. Then we're talking about other ways to get links, could be expired domain names. It could be domain names that are old websites. Your main competitor went out of business. You put a page on your site, and you redirect their domain name to your page and say, welcome. We know that so-and-so company went out of business, and we're glad to help you with your needs. And here's a 10% off coupon for being a customer of this other business.
Question on that. What if you're a lawyer site, and let's say you were searching through expired domain names, and maybe you found a site that had to do with, I don't know, scissors. And you're like, wow, I found this old scissor website and it's got, 5,000 backlinks to it. If you redirect that to the lawyer site, does that help?
Generally not, is because it's kind of a different topic, unless you would create a section or have a section on your site about scissor injuries.
Now
and, so there's ways.
And then you go to the old scissor site and you write about personal injury lawyers and scissor accidents.
Yes, exactly.
I wasn't trying to do that example, but that works.
There are, kind of creative ways of doing that. While looking around, there might be a very complementary product or service that you might consider offering, that you may run into just by.
Were you ever injured from a scissor accident? If so, call Boykin, Hartzer, and Tabke. Yes. We can help you out.
We'll cut around all the BS and we'll get right to your case.
Oh, oh, that's sharp. Bill, thank you so much for your time today. I know we've got around when your rankings going